Welcome English First Language Part 2, Pearls of Literature, Supplementary Reading, 19th Chapter, The Miser, Part 1, 8th Standard 2024-2025, Karnataka State Board Syllabus. The author of this lesson is Shantini Govindan. Pre-reading task 1. Think of the olden days where there was no money as a medium of exchange. It's fascinating to think about how societies functioned without the concept of money as we know it. In those days, bartering was a primary means of exchange. People would trade goods and services directly. For example, a farmer might trade a sack of wheat for a fisherman's catch of the day, or a weaver might exchange textiles for a blacksmith's tools. The value of item was subjective and often negotiated on the spot. Second main, what role do money and wealth play in our lives? Money and wealth have always had significant influence on our lives, affecting various aspects of our daily expenses and shaping societal structures. Here are some key roles they play: basic necessities and comforts, quality of life, social status, opportunities, influence and power, stress and anxiety, philanthropy, and giving back. Third one is, along with money, what are the other things required to lead a happy life? Discuss with your classmates. Here are some essential elements beyond money that contribute to happy life. Strong relationships, having supportive and loving relationships with family, friends, and partners is crucial. These connections provide emotional support, companionship, and a sense of belonging. Health, good physical and mental health are foundational to help happiness. Regular exercise, a balanced diet, adequate sleep, and mental well being practices like mindfulness and stress management are key. Purpose and meaning. Having a sense of purpose or meaning in life can provide direction and fulfillment. This can come from career, hobbies, volunteering, or personal projects that align with your passions and values. Personal growth. Continually learning and growing, whether through formal education, new experiences, or self reflection, can lead to more fulfilling life. Embracing challenges and strives to improve can provide sense of accomplishment. Work life balance. Maintaining a balance between work responsibilities and personal time is essential. Ensuring you have time to relax, pursue hobbies, and spend time with loved ones helps prevent burnout and enhances overall well being. Gratitude and mindfulness. Practicing gratitude and mindfulness can help you appreciate the present moment and find joy in everyday experiences. These practices can improve emotional resilience and overall happiness. Community and connection. Being part of community, whether through social groups, clubs, or local activities, can provide a sense of belonging and support. Engaging with others and contributing to the community can enhance well being. Freedom and autonomy. Having a freedom to make choices and control over your own life is important for happiness. This includes having the ability to pursue your interest and live according to your values. Nature and environment. Spending time in nature and having comfortable living environment can greatly impact happiness. Nature can provide relaxation and sense of peace, while a comfortable home can offer a safe and nurturing space. 1. Once upon a time, there lived a wealthy man called Surender. Surender was so wealthy that he had three huge barns heaped high with gold and silver, rare diamonds, and precious stones. But he was a terrible miser too. He was so stingy that he was loath to spend any of his carefully hoarded treasure. He bought the cheapest and the rowdiest and most ordinary clothes for his children. For food, he stopped it just short of starving his family. They supped on gruel most of the time so that the more money could be saved. Second, now one day it so happened that when Surender was walking through the marketplace, he saw a man eating a laddu. It was a large, soft yellow laddu, rich with raisins and cashew nuts. As the man bit into it, Surender's mouth began to water. It looked so delicious. Surender could almost feel its sweetness tickling his tongue. It had been a very long time since Surender had eaten a laddu, and he desperately yearned for one. His wife Vandana was an excellent cook, and Surinder knew that if he asked her, she would make him a laddu. But she would naturally make one for herself too, and one for each of their four children, and perhaps some for their servants and their friends too. The thought of wasting all that money on the ingredients had made him quite ill. He decided he would say nothing about his longing for a laddu. When he got home, Surender found that his craving for a laddu would just not go away. He wanted to eat one so badly that he began to drool. His legs grew weak and his stomach began to rumble loudly. What is wrong with you, dear husband? Vandana asked in concern. He rubbed his stomach and groaned in anguish. Tell me, what can I do to help you? Vandana said anxiously. Get me a laddu to eat. Surinder muttered. One sweet laddu is all I need to put me out of my misery. One laddu? Why? I can make dozens for you. Vandana replied happily. Then we can share them with our children and neighbors and servants too. Dozens, he squawked in complete horror, appalled at the thought of his precious money being wasted to make so many laddus. No, I I do not think the neighbors or servants need to have any share of the laddus. All right, said generous Vandana, disappointed. I shall make just enough for two of us and our children. Do you think the children really need to have a laddu each? Surendra asked weakly. Vandana hung her head in the shame at her husband's miserliness. But she was a dutiful wife, and without protesting, she quietly said, very well then, I shall make just two laddus, one for you and one for me. But you do not even like laddus very much. Tight fisted Surender continued. There is no reason for you to have one just to keep me company. So make one single laddu just for me. Vandana did not say a word in reply to this. She went straight to kitchen to make the laddu for her husband. A little while later, she served Surender the laddu. It was large and sugary and crumbled deliciously in Surender's eager mouth. How greedily he devoured it, without even the slightest bit of remorse. He was not sharing even a crumb with his family. Now, it is so happened that when all this was going on, Sakka, the king of gods, the ruler of heavens, peeped out of his magnificent palace high in the heavens. In all the eons I have lived through, I have never seen such a terrible miser, he cried. It is time that I teach him a lesson. 9. The next day, when Surender went for his morning walk, Sakka assumed Surender's own form and walked in through his front door. Today I am going to share my wealth, he said to an astonished Vandana. Go through, open the door of my treasure houses, and invite all the townsfolk to take what they wish. Bless your change of heart, Vandana exclaimed, delightedly to the make believe Surinder. She dispatched a servant immediately to summon all the people and threw open the doors of the huge barns. Soon the common people arrived, running as fast as they could. The make believe Surender stood at the door of the barn and invited them in. Take as much as you can, he cried heartily. Do not be afraid if an impostor who looks like me comes to threaten and stop you. Drive him away fearlessly. The amazed and overjoyed townsfolk leapt into the barn and began to grab the hoarded treasure. They filled their bulging pockets and bags till they could hold no more and were ready to go back when real Surinder arrived. He almost fainted with the shock to see the doors of his treasure houses thrown open and his precious hoard being merrily plundered. Thieves, robbers, he cried, wildly, running forward in rage. Ah, said the people, this must be the impostor we were warned about. After him, they began to chase the real Surinder. A bewildered Surinder ran to the king's palace where he threw himself before the king. Your Majesty, he cried in anguish, I am being robbed and looted of all my treasure by the people of the town. When I protested, they began to chase me. But I heard your own servant invited them to do so, the king exclaimed. Did you not give him the order yourself? Never, said Surinder, uttering a strangled cry. Let the one who gave the order be brought here at once. The king sent a messenger to Surinder's house, and soon the make-believe Surinder arrived with Vandana and children. The real Surinder shrieked when he saw the impostor. You are a fraud, he cried. The make-believe Surinder glared back at him. Now it is you who is the deceiver. The puzzled king looked from one to the other. I cannot tell the difference between the two, he told a speechless Vandana. So now you have to decide which one is your husband. I shall ask them each a question, Your Majesty, Vandana replied quietly. She turned to the god Sakka and asked, Is it better to be generous to yourself, your family, your neighbors and friends, or your servants? To all, Sakka replied promptly, When you are generous, others also become generous, and so everyone is happy and prosperous then. She turned to Surinder. Is it better to be generous to yourself, your family, your neighbors and friends, or your servants? To none. Surinder howled in wrath, being generous only wastes precious wealth that can never be recovered. Vandana gathered her children close and squaring her shoulders, he drew close to God Sakka, Your Majesty, she said solemnly. He is my true husband, Surinder. Surinder let out an agonized cry of grief and disbelief. No, my dear wife and children. At this, God Sakka stepped forward and, with a blinding flash of light, reverted to his original form. I am not Surinder, but Sakka himself, he said to the king. I came down from the heavens just to teach this petty and mean miser a lesson. He turned to the trembling and woebegone Surinder and said, Do you see what your miserliness had done? Ever your own wife and children do not want you. Tears sprang into the Surinder's eyes and he sobbed consolably, inconsolably. Your only hope for salvation is for you to stop being a miser. Sakka said, Can you bring yourself to be more generous? Surinder paused. Yes, he said reluctantly, I will try to be a little more generous. You will have to be a lot more generous, warned Sakka, or I will be back for you. God Sakka vanished in a cloud of smoke. The Surinder embraced his wife and children happily. I am so relieved that this ordeal is over, he told Vandana. Shall we celebrate? Vandana asked shyly. I can make dozens of laddus. Dozens of laddus? The word rose sharply the Surender's lips. Once more, he felt faint at the thought of all expense. But he clenched his fist and swallowed the word that came spontaneously to his tongue. Instead, he nodded his head and said very softly, "Very well." Please like, share, subscribe, and save the playlist. Thank you for watching.